Welcome back to the shop, guys. Today, I'm going to start working on getting some of this wiring harness in. That way we can get to more of the fun stuff like firing off this motor for the first time. And if you're new to the channel, lately I've been working on my 1986 Chevrolet C20. So let's dig in here. I'll show you where I'm starting at and let's get some of this done. To start with, you can see this whole interior is gutted. I took all the wiring out, threw everything away. The wiring wasn't necessarily bad per se, but I was going with Holly Sniper fuel injection, things like that. So I wanted to forego any problems electrically I might have, or help it out as much as I can by just replacing all the wiring in the truck. So that's the direction I went. You don't necessarily have to do this, but the wire harness I got is American Autowire. I've never installed one of these American Autowire harnesses before, so this will be the first time for me. But you can see everything's pretty much stripped down. I've taken some other things off right now because I got to put my firewall pad back on, because when I was welding up my rocker panels, when I was replacing those, it caught on fire and burned up. So, but it doesn't hurt to get a new one anyway. So I've taken a few things off that I need to get this pad on, the gas pedal, some brackets. So while they're out, I might as well go throw them over there in the paint booth and get some paint on them. So first thing I need to do is I'm going to get this pad in and up on the firewall. That way that's over and done with, and I can start running my dash harness. Moving along, I've thought this dash pad up in here. Now it's an aftermarket part. You know, it's not going to fit perfect, and don't get upset about that, because you just got to work with these things and make them fit and make them what you want. That's just part of it. Now, oh yeah, so this thing up here, this is an underhood light made to go like clip onto your hood when you're working in your engine bay, but it works great if you get one that you can clip on top of the truck. That way you can put these lights up and you can light this place up like 4th of July. Well, over here in my paint booth, I'm just scuffing up and cleaning up this bracket and this gas pedal bracket. Took off the turbo switch for the turbo 400. You know, you hit that gas, it kicks that sucker down, goes from brr, brr. So got that off. Just got a little soapy water in a spray bottle and just scuffing it up with some Scotch-Brite. That way I can hang it up here on my stands and get her painted up. Okay, now we're talking. I got everything set up in the paint booth, got my evacuation system set up. Now, this does pretty good. If you're not careful, it'll suck the paint right off of whatever you're painting. So, and of course, the color we're using is just Rust-Oleum Satin Black. Goes good with everything. Just come in here and do a couple coats on all this, and that'll take care of it. I mean, it doesn't hurt to make things just a little bit nicer if you got to take it out anyway, huh? There we go. Brand new. Back in action, baby. I had to run off, go to work. So it's about a week later. I'm back on this now. I laid the dash harness out on this table, you know, fuse panel, everything that's going to go in the inside of the truck wire-wise, and went through my instructions, kind of looked at all the wires, crawled around inside the truck, kind of looked at everything it was going to need to plug into, and decided where all these are going to go, because I figured it'd be easier just to kind of go through it as it sits here without it in the truck, so I can figure it out. And I'll go ahead and, you know, bring you in here, kind of point this stuff out, you know, kind of tell you what goes where, you know. That way, if you're doing this, it might help you out, you know. You just do what I do. But I wouldn't do what I do because I'm probably wrong. But, you know, maybe I can give you somewhat of an idea. All right, look, dash harness. Here's the one that came out of the truck. This one had been hacked into, and it's 30 plus years old, so getting rid of that. Now, here's your main fuse panel. It goes on the firewall. This is the top of it. This is the bottom of it. And coming out of the bottom is going to be everything that goes into your column. You got ignition switch. You got all your blinkers, turn signals, your hazards. Then you've got your brake sensor light, your backup light. Over here, these two are going to be your neutral safety switch, and it gives you two options. You can either use it by using this harness right here, or you can delete it with this jumper right here, which that's what we're going to do. We're going to delete it. Then the last thing coming out of the bottom of your harness is going to be to your dimmer switch. Two options for the dimmer switch, because this is a kit that does 1983 and then 1984 through 1987. You got one for the dimmer switch on the floor, if I can get it off of here. Yep, right there. One for on the floor, and then 1984 to 87 has the dimmer switch on the column. Plug that in there for whatever truck you got. And then moving along, coming out the top, you got this plug right here. And this is a bunch of different accessories like constant 12 volt, key on accessory 12 volt, things like that, for if you are running other accessories like maybe some electric fans or a fuel pump, things like that, if you're modifying it. Then we've got all of this coming up here is going to be your gauge cluster if you're running a factory gauge cluster. They also add in the kit a cluster gauge where it'll plug into this, and then you have like bearing wires or whatever, so you can make connectors or connect it to any aftermarket dash harness you want. But if you got, you know, your factory gauges, you can just plug that right in. Then up here, this Christmassy looking one, this red and green and white one, this is going to go to your headlight switch. And also the last little bit that's up here is going to be your courtesy lights, the bulb underneath the dash, and your dome light, and everything going to your little switches in your door. And then if you've got a 1987 model, you'll have the vehicle speed sensor, because apparently you have to have that for the TBI throttle body fuel injection to work properly. I don't know if it helps with your gas mileage or whatever it does. It just measures wheel speed and stuff like that, computes it somehow. And then, of course, just your wires to your radio, your grounds, your hot, your accessory hot for that, and your power to your heater AC box, which they have everything that'll plug into that, but I'm not going to be using that because I have the Vintage Air aftermarket AC, and all I'm going to have to do with that is just run power to it. So that pretty much sums up what we've got going on here. Oh, one more thing. The one thing that you are going to have to wire up into a connector on your own, because it's 1983 is different, is your wiper motor. You get this plug that plugs in up here by the gauge cluster plugs, and then they got bearing wires on the other side, and you have to make it up into this connector that connects into your wiper motor. So that way you have the option for 1983 and 1984 to 1987. So that pretty much covers what's going on here. Now I'm going to get this thrown in the truck. Yeah, let's go over this real quick. This is my kickdown switch, aka the turbo button. And if you got a turbo 400 or a turbo 350, I believe they use the same one on turbo 350, you got to have this so your transmission will kick down when you go full throttle. Well, I don't think mine was working, so I thought I was going to test it out while I had it outside the truck. All you got to do to test this thing out, get you a meter, turn it over to the horseshoe setting, and if you got one that rings out, gives you a tone, switch it over to that one, so you get that beat. And then you just take your leads, hook it on these two little prongs on the bottom of it, and when you push this button, it should contact and ring out on you, which is doing it now. But earlier, well, see there, it didn't work. Sometimes it's not working. So that's telling me right now I probably need to get a new one of these, or it's gonna no downshifting, and that's not gonna fly. See, there it goes. But anyway, I just want to run through that real quick. So I mean, if you have those symptoms, maybe your truck's not downshifting on you, that could possibly be the problem. Haha. Well, first step, I just got this fuse panel screwed up in here. Of course, that's the first thing you got to do if you're going to run this dash harness. And you can see from the top, there she is down in there. And you can see the wires going down from the bottom, which go to the column, which is over here. Those are all connected in there. And then it just runs up out of the top of the box. It runs up here to the gauge cluster along, and it has these little metal keeper things that you bend over that'll hold the wire harness all the way down the dash. So I've got all the gauge cluster. Ooh, I'm gonna turn that light. It's a little bright. Ugh. Got my gauge cluster wires all living right here now. And this is gonna be my headlight switch. I don't know why, I just went blank. Headlight switch right there. So it's going to come down, and I'm going to take, they give you a new headlight switch. So I'm going to take this one out. And if you're going to take this one out, let's see if you can see, there's a little button on the side of this headlight switch, and you can pull that knob right off. And oh, there we go. I got it with one hand. And then this is just a nut, and you need to take a screwdriver. You see, it's kind of like a big flathead. Take a screwdriver and you can just knock on it with a hammer, and it'll unscrew that. You take that headlight switch out. So let's get to doing that. I can plug that up, and then the only other thing I've got to do really is I've got to make this plug for the wiper motor. So I'm going to get that pinned out and plug it in. Closing in on finishing up this wiring here on the inside. I'm working on the courtesy lights now. And I've got the gauge wire stopped over there, and then I just ran up along the top. You can see the wires for the radio, got them stuck out right there. Then I've got the courtesy lights and your power for your cigarette lighter that goes in your little ashtray dilly bobber right there. And now I'm working on mounting up. Where is it at? These courtesy lights right here. You go up under the dash. Now I've been checking out these jam switches right here, and they're easy to take off. You just get a 7/16 socket, and they unscrew right out of the door jamb right here. And it's just got a little spade connector on it. Now I've got to disconnect this, and I'm going to take this little wire. That's just like a little old turn-on lead for amplifier or something. And I'm going to tape it onto this once I take this switch off. That way I can pull this wire out and have this one coming through, so I can tie my new wire onto it and pull it right back through and make it easy. Otherwise, man, I feel like that would be a pain in the butt trying to get that wire back through there. I'm sure there's some way to do it, but I think this is probably the easiest way. So I'm going to get that pulled out, pull the new wire in, and that'll be connected. And then let me show you on the other side. I've already got this courtesy light. Maybe you can look down there and see it right here. Got it mounted up. Now, and here's my wires coming out. Now, if you have a dome light, you're going to have this. You're going to use this extra harness right here that'll plug into. You've got two connections for your courtesy light. One right up here, close to the close to the fuse panel, and then you have one that runs down to the other side of the truck for that side. Now, if you have a dome light, you're going to put this little splitter harness in. It'll connect into there first, and then this courtesy light will plug into that. That way you can take these wires, run them back up over here and up to your dome light. So let me get that pulled through and fished in. Looks like that's going to wrap up the wiring on the inside of the truck, the dash harness, you know. And it wasn't too bad. Of course, there's not that many wires in this old truck, and it went pretty well. I probably spent more time looking at the instructions beforehand than I did putting it in, which might have helped. But it's getting late on Sunday, and I'm running out of time. So I'm going to shut it down right here. And I wanted to get into some of that vintage air, mounting that box in there. The head unit, whatever you want to call it, the brains. I just don't got time tonight to do it. So we're going to have to do that another time. So looks like we got another piece of the puzzle completed, and we'll catch y'all next time.